Welcome back to Greg's Grooves. I'm here with a different type of video today, and before I get started, I would just implore you, if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe. It really motivates me to make more of these videos. I love might be an understatement. I am obsessed and have been for many years with The Who. If you've watched this channel for a little bit, you've seen I've already done my first overlooked masterpieces was on The Who by numbers, and I mentioned The Who in pretty much every video, and there's a short of me playing Who's Next, and yeah, they're my favorite band. Doesn't mean that I think they have to be your favorite band, and I don't even get into arguments of what the best band of all time is, because that's subjective and it's the Beatles. But anyway, yeah, I have adored The Who since very early in life, and I want to tell a little bit of the story of that today while taking a look at a piece of media on a fairly, I don't want to say rare, but rarely used format nowadays. So, when I was around 3-4 years old, it was all about the Beatles for me. I wanted to be Ringo, I wanted to play the drums, I wanted that Ludwig drum kit in the oyster finish with the Beatles and their very unique font on the front. That's what I wanted, and I knew their catalog front to back by the age of 5. And I could basically sing along with any Beatles song that you threw at me. One day there was a fundamental change in my life. Now, my house growing up was full of music. My dad had a huge cassette collection. He had a vinyl collection when I was younger, but actually sold that off, which still makes me cringe. But he had a huge cassette collection. We didn't have CDs yet. And once he was home from work, which was 6 o'clock every night, and we had finished dinner, there was a cassette tape in the cassette player. From the Beatles to ELO to Creedence Clearwater Revival, you name it, he played it. Jazz, all kinds of great stuff. He's even into like bluegrass and stuff that I don't really listen to, but there was this seminal moment where, even though he must have played it 100 times, he put on Who's Next. And if you don't know Who's Next, 1971, it's considered to be The Who's greatest album. It's not my favorite. My favorite's Quadrophenia, but, you know, it's the most recognizable. You put it on, and from the first 30 seconds, even, you know, someone who's 12 years old will be like, I know that song. So he puts on Who's Next, and Baba O'Reilly starts with this, you know, kind of strange sort of synthesizer loop, very different from anything on a Beatles record, which is basically all I listened to at the time. And I'm just kind of mesmerized, falling into this sort of trance, listening to the synthesizer. And then the piano part comes in. Bum, bum, bum. And I'm like, all right. And then the drums come in, and I'm like, wow, very powerful sounding drums. And then Roger comes in singing, and I'm still like, yeah, okay. And then you get to the part in Baba O'Reilly where you get the first power chords from Pete's guitar. And by this point, I was like, I don't need to hear anything else. This is my favorite band on the face of the planet. Still love the Beatles, but move over. You're in second place now. And my dad kind of like catches out of the corner of his eye me just sitting there, having stopped what I was doing and just listening intently. And he turns it over to side 2. And by the time we get through Behind Blue Eyes and into Won't Get Fooled Again, I'm like having a moment. I'm like 5, 6 years old, and I'm like, this is changing my life. We get to the Scream and Won't Get Fooled Again, and I was like literally near tears. This music moved me in a way that I was not prepared for. So when the album's done, my dad's like, you liked that, Greg, didn't you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you know what? You can have the tape. He's like, I'll get another one. You can have this one. I had a little boombox in my bedroom, and I played the life out of that tape. So what does that have to do with what I'm going to talk about for the remainder of this video? Well, you know, a few days after he gives me the Who's Next tape, he's like, hey, I have something for you. I'm like, what? He's like, here's this VHS tape. I'm like, what's on this VHS tape? He's like, you know that band you've been listening to? He's like, well, they had a special on PBS a couple years ago, and I recorded it, and I want you to watch it. It's great. I think you'll come to appreciate them even more. And I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. let's watch it. Now, I didn't know at the time that The Who was my dad's favorite band. I really did come to them organically. But what drove it home for me was what I saw on that VHS tape. And what I saw was actually the PBS airing of this. The Who, 30 Years of Maximum R&B, which I now own on this Laserdisc. I also have it on DVD, but I like to watch it on Laserdisc. And holy crap, this video blew my mind. Because I didn't know what The Who looked like. I didn't know about the spectacle that was this band live. I didn't know about the destroying of instruments early in their career. I did not know about Moon the Loon. I did not know about Roger swinging his microphone, Pete windmilling, John just being Thunderfingers, being the Ox, and being an incredible musician. I only knew what I heard on that cassette tape. And having the visual to go along with what I heard, it just made my fandom rabid from that point forward. And if you've never seen this, it was made in 1994, I believe. Yeah, 1994. And it's a mixture of interviews from 1994 and some earlier interviews with band members, with members of other groups. Like there's a guy from the Spin Doctors who were popular at the time. And most importantly, a whole bunch of live performances spanning the whole career of the band to that point. You know, they had, we can get into the jokes about how many Who farewell tours there have been, but basically from 1965 to 1989, it's all cataloged on this special. And some of the performances that just blew me away were the performance of Anyway, Anywhere, Anyhow from the Richmond Jazz and Blues Festival. If you haven't seen it, either buy a copy of this on DVD or whatever, find it on YouTube, it's got to be out there on the internet. Man, this is proto-punk in a way you've never seen it before. Just the aggression. There's a moment in the performance where Roger tries to bang Keith's cymbals with his microphone, and Keith is like not having it and basically sends a cymbal flying like at Roger's throat, and it's amazing. And you know, it was my first introduction to some of the Tommy music, and yeah, you know, I came to love the Tommy album, but never loved it as much as seeing it performed live. So Sad About Us from the Marquee Club, is like such a great performance because everything's out of tune. The bass and the guitar are out of tune, and everyone's singing is out of tune, and yet it's still like so pop and pop art and powerful. And then it also introduced me to kind of like their arena rock phase, where they were the loudest band in the world, the Charlton performance in 1974, and you know, them doing Dreaming from the Waste from Cleveland. And then I got to learn how funny this band was. Some of the clips of them in the studio, their interviews, I mean, they've got to be the funniest band of all time, both in their wit and humor, and just the way they perform is kind of hilarious sometimes too. And even after Keith Moon dies, I remember being a young kid and seeing Kenny Jones' drum set from the '79 tour with a cymbal suspended from a gong stand, and I was like, that's the coolest thing ever, there's a cymbal up there. And yeah, it just, everything about this solidified my fandom. And no joke, I played that VHS tape until, you know, it couldn't even track in the VHS player anymore. It was just lines, and I still kept playing it. I didn't even know that it was available commercially until I was much older, like well into my 20s. I thought that this tape my dad had recorded off a PDF was like lost to history, and I'd never get another copy of it again. I cherished it. Well, I'm happy to say here it is. I can watch it anytime I want. And while there's a lot of great media out there of The Who, from The Kids Are Alright, which is obviously incredible, and the Isle of Wight performance, and a bunch of other live performances, nothing will ever match this collection, if you will, for me, this documentary. Go out and get it. Doesn't have to be on Laserdisc. It's out there on DVD. The Who, 30 Years of Maximum R&B Live. The thing that kick-started my love of The Who more than maybe anything else. So, just wanted to share that with you guys today. That's it for this episode of Greg's Grooves. Until next time, everybody, take care.